You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice our love. You never take advice. Someday you'll pay the price. I know. I've seen it before. It happens all the time. You're closing the door. You leave the world behind.
Hey yo, what is poppin' my folks? It's your boy Fizz, aka Ben here. Pretty guys, the Season 3 draft analysis for the UPA D-League, the United Pokemon Association. Now, if you guys are excited for your Tampa Bay Weasels and your boy to be in another draft league and uploading it hopefully the entire season this time, please show some love on the like button. And we recently got to 200 subscribers. Maybe we can get to 300 by the end of the year. I don't know, it's up to y'all, but please subscribe if you're new and stuff like that. But yeah, man, UPA is a league that I've been spectating for about 1 or 2 seasons so far. I'm in the server, I just talk a lot. We just VC a bunch, and it's just a really good time in the server. And this is actually a league where it has really good competition, man. Like even D-League has like really good competition, really solid players in the league, and as well as main league. Main league is stacked, bro, except for like Brett, but now I'm playing. But yeah, UPA D-League is really good competition, and a lot of my friends are there in addition to that, so it's going to be a really good time, man. I'm here to have fun and hopefully do my best in this league, and to hopefully draft a team that I want, a really fun team that I will enjoy. So hopefully I can give out some good content and battles for you guys. That's definitely my priority after not doing shit in the season, I guess. But yeah, man, I actually had second pick in the draft, which the draft has to be rigged. Like I never get above top 6 in the draft. That doesn't happen, man. But you know, it was right. I got second pick in the draft, and we had some pretty cool unbans. People were voting, or coaches were voting to unban Mega Metagross, and I'm not about that life. So it was actually shot down. So there's no Mega Metagross allowed. I'm not a fan of Mega Metagross. It's really hard. Only like 3 Pokemon can really deal with like a Mega Metagross, and that's like Mandibuzz and Kofag. And even then, it can just like toxic them, and it's just a nightmare, man. I don't want to allow Mega Metagross. But other than that, we had a couple of things unbanned that are sometimes banned from regular draft league format. You got Deoxys Defense, Landorus with Sheer Force, Landorus Incarnate with Sheer Force rather, Mega Latios, and Tapu Lele. Mega Mawile is usually allowed in some leagues, but it's allowed in this league. Most of the time, Mega Mawile is allowed, but some leagues ban it. I can understand why, but you know what? Most leagues allow it, so just might as well throw that in there. And this is actually a points draft. 1 through 18, we each get 125 points. Minimum of 9 Pokemon, I believe. So some pretty healthy points, I would say. 125 is actually pretty good for me. And I have a lot of points to spend, so I might as well use them all. And my boy Dave up here, he was eyeing at one of the unbanned Pokemon, like Tapu Lele, and one of the top tier Pokemon, like Mega Latios, Lele, Celesteela, Kyurem, stuff like that. Just stuff that always goes round 1. And he actually picked up the Tapu Lele, which was a pretty good first overall pick. And for the first time in forever, that led me to get Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko is a Pokemon I've always wanted to draft, man. I see other people have very good success with this Tapu Koko, and you know what, it's just an incredible Pokemon. I feel like it's top 2 in the draft league format, alongside Celesteela and Koko. I feel like it's like a mismatch of which one is better, which one is not. But Koko is so good, even though I've only used it for like what, 3 weeks before the league died. But Koko is so good, man. It's very versatile. 130 speed is incredible. Really good mix attacking stats, especially in electric terrain. Everything gets boosted by a trillion, so that's really good. Has lots of good utility with like U-turn, taunt, defog. Can set up Calm Mind, resets. It's just a really good Pokemon that fits pretty much every team. That's the one thing I looked at when I drafted this mod. It can fit pretty much any team. You can draft Hyper Offense around it. You can draft Balance, Stall Koko. I don't know how that's gonna work out, but it can happen, I guess. But Coco is a really good mon that fits almost every team and can even set up dual screens if it wanted to. So that's really good. Now the attacking stats aren't amazing, like 115.95 isn't the best, but it gets the job done with its electric spam, and you can draft easily around this Coco. And it's not frail either, like 70, 85, 75. Like it's not fat, but it's not frail, right? So young Coco looks like to be a really, really good member for my team. Now going into the next pick, I had to wait like a really long time for my next pick. Now here's where something funny comes in. I really wanted Coco Ape, right? My buddy, I think it was Chess in the DGBA. Shout out to Stays. Um, he actually drafted Coco Infernape, and I believe he won the championship. So that's really impressive. Good job, I guess. No, but Coco Ape really worked out for him, and it seems like such a good core. Like Infernape, it has trouble hitting some water types like Suicune, but in Electric Terrain and Thunder Punch with Iron Fist, it can really destroy those waters, man, let me tell you. So Coco Ape was something I was really eyeing. Now, my buddy Chess, coincidentally, he was actually thinking about drafting the Infernape. So I was like, I made a deal with him. It was like a meme. I knew it may or may not have gotten through. Like, he may or may not have accepted it, but I just offered it for the meme, you know? I thought it was pretty funny. But if he passed up on Infernape and it got to me, or if he passed up on Infernape in general, I would prep 13 of his games for him. Now that's an entire season, an entire 10-week season plus playoffs. So I thought it was pretty good. And I know it was a stupid idea, but I just did it for the meme, man. And, you know, Chess already had to win some games eventually with my prep, you know? No, I'm playing. But, yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. So he accepted, and he got a better Mon in Greninja. So it was like a win-win for him. He got Greninja, the better Mon, and he got 13 preps from me, boy. So I thought it was pretty worth it last time, or the when I accepted the deal, but it actually got sniped from me. Young DS Gaming here, my good pal and friend, sniped Infernape from me. So there was no condition where it said, if I don't get Infernape, I don't prep for him. So even though Infernape didn't get back to me, I still had to prep 13 games for Chess. So I was like depressed. It was a very sad time, to say the very least. And you know what? I didn't get Infernape, and I had to prep 13 games for young Chessben. So yeah, GG's boys. Coco Ape was really good, but it was obviously not that worth. But it was a good meme, you know. I did it for the meme, also because I wanted Coco Ape. So either way, going into my second pick, I basically had wheel, kind of not. I had one pick before the wheel. So since Dave got Lele, I was like, man, I don't want him to get Hawlucha, man. And you already know how much of a pain it is to prep for Coco Lucha, man. Let me tell you, Coco Lucha is insane. It's really linear in what it does, but there's only so much you can do about it. You can expect it to come every single week, but there's only so much you can do about it. Only like 3 Pokemon, like Zapdos. I don't know if Zapdos got drafted at all, actually. So that's a plus. Maybe it did. But yeah, only like 3 Pokemon can really handle Coco Lucha, man. It's just really good and incredibly good late game, and it's just so good. Coco Lucha is just incredible. I know I've been jacking off Coco Lucha's dick, but you know what? Let me actually talk about the Mon. So I'm not gonna say if you didn't know. Electric Seed Unburdened in the terrain makes it double its speed, so you can run Adamant half the time. It's not the fastest or the strongest thing in the world, but with max attack Adamant, it hits at why is it that? It hits 311 attack, which is honestly isn't bad, but it gets a defense boost in the electric terrain with the Electric Seed. So if you can run like Swords Dance or Bulk Up, it's gonna double this attack stat, and it's gonna be actually hitting pretty hard with like High Jump Kick, and it gets sustained with Roost and Drain Punch. So it can't be whittled down with like something like Priority or something like that. And like not a lot of things outspeed Coco Lucha or Coco in terrain. That's just a fact. Like one thing, maybe like Scarf Deoxys speed, I don't know. Some things if it sets up like an Autotomize or something. But nothing can really outspeed Hawlucha in terrain. And it has pretty good coverage as well. Fighting Flying Stab is just incredible. Like, excuse me, I just ate breakfast. I'm burping everywhere. But not a lot of things want to take its stabs. Plus Rock Slide, plus Poison Jab. Especially with the Swords Dance up, it's going to be very hard to kill. And Coco Lucha, If you remember in WPL, Matt drafted Coco Lucha Rain Mega Scissor, and that was just a nightmare, dude. Coco Lucha Rain Mega Scissor. Like, how do you even beat that, dude? So I really wanted to go towards the Rain route, but I felt like Rain was a bit subpar. Now I know I drafted Sun in NCL, but that was just a fun time that I wanted to try out. But I didn't feel like Rain was it for me. I really wanted to build like a more hyper offensive draft around Coco, which I think does the best with pivoting and stuff like that. So Halucha is a really good pair with Coco. And Dave drafted Megazam and Skarmory right before me. So Megazam Lele is very interesting. Like Megazam and Psychic Terrain is really good. I feel like it's way better on Smogon ladder because like you can easily run that stuff on ladder and just destroy everybody because regular Megazam destroys everybody on ladder like half the time, but with Psychic Terrain it destroys them even more. But in Draft League, I don't really know how it's gonna work out. Dave is a good player, so I'm sure he'll find a way to make it work out. Now I'm gonna try to speed up the next few picks because I'm in a bit of a time crunch. But you know, I really wanted something to pressure the grass types that Coco doesn't really want to deal with. So I drafted Megazard X Igneel here. I drafted him season 6 of the CSLL like 2 years ago. It was such a long time since I used Zardex. Now, it was a really good Pokemon. I was thinking about getting Hydreigon, but I used that thing like 3 times. And Zardex, I haven't used him in a long time, and it has really good synergy with Coco. Zardex Coco, I feel like, is a fantastic core. It's a really good breaker that every Coco team needs, or every team needs in general. Like, it's an incredible breaker at 100 base speed. And Fire Dragon stabs are just incredible with Tough Claws. Can set up a Swords Dance DD, can Will-O-Wisp Roost, stuff like that. Like, D-Dance Roost is probably my favorite set of all time with Dual Stab, Earthquake, Brick Break, Rock Slide. It doesn't get Rock Slide, right? Oh, it doesn't get Rock Slide. Why is it in caps? But it just hits incredibly hard. And, you know what? Zard X is just fantastic. You already know what it does, man. It just cleans late game or just breaks early mid game for Coco or for Lucha in the back. So it's just an incredible pairing with my team, and I'm really happy getting Zardex here. I feel like it has fantastic synergy with my team. So I'm really happy about that. And if I'm getting Charizard, I need some removal soon. So that's definitely something I need to look out for for sure. And I know all three of my first three picks get defog, but the only thing that really wants to run it is like Coco. If it's a defensive set, which offensive Coco or like pivoting Coco, well, I guess all of my pivoting, like offensive Coco with a Z or something, have much better viability than like defog boost Coco. So every every team that has Coco has to have a good ground type, whether it's like Mamoswine, which was taken by Thick Bunny, which hurt, but I didn't mind at all because I instead got a Pokemon that I've always wanted to try, Young Diggersby here. Now look at its stats. Oh my god, this thing is terrible, but huge power. Huge power more than makes up for it. You slap a Choice Band on it, Life Orb. It's not a Z-move user. I'll get into that at the end of my draft. But Diggersby with huge power is insane. Why does everything have 31 no IVs? Huge power is incredible on this Pokemon because nothing really switches into this dual stab, man. Coco Diggersby is a phenomenal pairing because this also gets U-turn. It's a very good Scarfer and also gets agility, so it can be also a late game win con in addition to being an early mid game breaker, similar to the role Charizard plays except a different typing. And it actually gets access to Swords Dance, which is incredible. Swords Dance, huge power is very good, and it gets really decent coverage too with like Ice Punch, Wild Charge, and Dual Stab. Quick Attack priority is really good, and it gets Fire Punch as well. A lot of really good, solid coverage that this Diggersby gets. So it also gets access to Spikes, which can help out Coco, which I think it's not a bad spiker. You know, forces out so many switches, so you're gonna be able to get a spike or two up. And not a lot of rockers really appreciate getting like an Earthquake to the face from this thing, even if it's like minimal investment, because that's the way huge power works. So it's a pretty decent spiker, and it's just another really good breaker in addition to Zardex. And it's another ground that I really wanted. Its speed tier is really good, and I'm really happy I got Diggersby. It's a mon that I've always wanted to try. as well. So really happy I got Diggersby. So right now I kind of prioritized hazard setting more than hazard removal because I feel like every team only needs like or like two, three, four very maximum reliable hazard removal. So I prioritize getting hazards up because I felt like that's much more important for Hawlucha and my breakers. So I got Necrozma for that matter. Get Stealth Rock, very solid Stealth Rocker. Now I didn't want this to be my only Stealth Rocker because that opens up the possibility of Necrozma running like, excuse me, a Calm Onset Autotomize, just a setup set, which is incredible. Very tough to deal with Stored Power or something like that. But it has one more speed than Diggersby, which is it clumps up my speed tiers a little bit, and that's one thing that this draft kind of lacks. Really good speed tiers. Like, there's a big gap in some places, but I'm not worried about it. Gets Rocks, gets Moonlight. It's a very good defensive Mon with Prism Armor. Takes less from super effective damage. Very, very versatile. Similar to Coco, so I feel like it has really good synergy there. It's a Psychic type that I wanted, and it's a Rocker. That's pretty much why I got it. And it also hits really hard with Rotom Geyser off of that, 127 special attack. And really good coverage, really good setup opportunities. Coverage on both sides, really. It can be really niche. Well, not really niche. It can be very versatile, because 107 attack is, like, not bad. It's, like, actually pretty solid. I don't know why everything's 0 IVs in attack, but, you know, it's very fat. It gets reliable recovery with Moonlight, and it just does everything I wanted it to do with this draft. Now, I was looking at a more reliable rocker and a water right here, and I ended up getting Seismitoad. Now, thank God this didn't get sniped. I mean, granted it is round 6, but I had to wait an entire, like, round, or pretty much 2 rounds entirely, because that stuff's scary, man. That stuff's scary. And, yeah, wow. Seismitoad gets Water Absorb, so it handles the water types because my Dragon is neutral to water and I have a Diggersby. So having a water immunity is really, really nice. It's always good to have because water spam, not a good time. And this thing is a really reliable rocker. It has a decent speed tier. Again, clumping up my speed tiers was probably not the wave, but Seismitoad and Diggersby with Coco really, I feel like, has really good synergy here. And it gets pretty decent. It has really decent attacking stats, 95, 85, so it's not like passive at all. And it gets access to like Scald, Earthquake, so it's basically like a Swampert, except it doesn't get Ice Beam, which is pretty unfortunate because you can't really invest all into special attack if you're running Scald, which is pretty unfortunate, but that's the only drawback that it has outside of no recovery. But this does everything I wanted to. Just gets up rocks, can knock off a few things, and Scald things, burn things, Toxic. Does everything I wanted to. Swift Swim can be pretty niche. Same thing with Poison Touch. It can be niche at times, but I don't have a range hitter on my draft. But this thing is there to be my bulky ground type, my bulky water, and it fits very well. I've always wanted to use Seismitoad as well. I've seen a lot of people have success with Seismitoad, so I'm really interested to see how it works out. Again, its stats aren't the best. 105 HP is very good, along with its defensives that are pretty average. But if you invest all in like HP and defense or special defense or whatever, it can take a couple of hits and really good rocker. So that's what I got it for, and that's what it's there for. Now I really wanted a good fairy. Now I ended up getting Comfey because one, it's not weak to rocks and it can defog. So that's going to be really, really good for my Charizard. It does have the same speed tier as it, but max speed Comfey isn't something that I usually typically see, and I know I'm not going to be running max speed Comfey every single time. And also gets an ability called Triage, so not Flower Veil. Triage, what it basically does, all of its healing moves get priority, so including Draining Kiss, which is like a Draining Kiss. That was stupid. Draining Kiss also gets priority, same thing with Leech Seed Synthesis. So it can be very, very annoying. It's a very good Cleric as well with Defog. Also gets access to the U-turn. So 3 of my Mons outside of Hawlucha, you're not going to U-turn with Hawlucha even if it does get it. You're not going to be U-turning with Hawlucha, but it's a really good U-turner and defogger. Unfortunately, it does not get Wish, so something like my Seismitoad is probably just going to be there to just set up rocks and die, which is pretty unfortunate. But, you know, Calm Mind sets on this thing are going to be really nice. And it's just very... If you invest, like, everything in HP and defense, it can actually be a pretty good defensive check to a lot of things, like a lot of fighting spam and Dark Spam can be really punished by Priority Draining Kiss on this thing. So that's going to be really good for me, and it has pretty good utility as well. Again, it's a very good cleric for me, and can defog, stuff like that. And I believe it gets, yeah, it gets light screen, no reflect though. But can taunt, tailwind, trick room. So that's a lot of utility right there that my draft really appreciates. And Comfey, I felt like, was just the best fairy available. I didn't want it to get sniped by anybody else because it was a defogger and U-turner. That's a fairy, so I really like that. And going up into my next pick, I wanted a bulky grass type. Now, unfortunately, Decidueye got sniped, which I felt like fit very well because it gets U-turn as well and gets defog and some offensive presence on both sides. But instead, we got Dhelmise, which I'm not too worried about. Like, I have Dhelmise. It's a good Pokemon. It was on my championship run in my first league ever. And Dhelmise is a very good spinner. Having a spinner is really good so you don't waste away your own rocks like on Seismitoad or something like that and your spikes. But it's a good spinner and it hits incredibly hard. 131 attack. Basically gets stabbed from steel type moves like Anchor Shot with its ability, Steel Worker. So it can really trap opposing like walls with Anchor Shot and can 1v1 them with like Rest, Synthesis, Earthquake. Has really good coverage and hits it very hard. It's pretty slow, so it can cover Trick Room options against my relatively fast draft. Excuse me again. But Dhelmise is really good here. It's a very good physical wall. 70, 100 isn't the greatest, but 100 defense is really good. 90 speed def isn't bad either. Like its defenses are actually pretty solid. If you slap an AV on this thing, and run like, yeah, if you just slap an AV on this thing, it can be good speed def check to a lot of things, and its coverage is really good. It can really handle the walls with Anchor Shot for my Hawlucha late game, so it can trap like bulky psychic, stuff like that Hawlucha doesn't really appreciate. And it's a spinner and a grass type, so with reliable recovery, so that's what I got it for, and it's really good. And yeah, I really wanted a steel type next that gets rocks because Metagross got sniped earlier on in the draft, and this was before Necrozma. I was planning on getting Metagross like round 5 or 6, probably like round 6, but it got taken. So I wanted a reliable steel type that is a reliable steel type, not like a fucking Durant or a Bisharp. I didn't want any of that. I wanted a fat steel type, which I got in Registeel. Now, I'll admit, my last 4 picks don't really synergize with the rest of my team very well, but Registeel was the only real steel available that gets rocks. Now, this is a very good fairy and psychic check that my team didn't really appreciate because my fire type was neutral to fairy, and this is actually my only fairy resist on the draft. So if they have like a really scary fairy, Bartz, I have to bring Registeel, which is very unfortunate, but you know what, I'm a hyper offensive draft here, and adding Registeel is it just gives me a wall with rocks. That's what I got it for, really. Don't know what synergy it really has on the draft, except that it's God. I love Registeel to death. I drafted in AABL to my finals run in that league, and Registeel performed so well. The infamous Zap Cannon set against a Mega Pidgeot. So has really good tech, especially in electric terrain. Like you can run Thunderbolt on it or something like that, or Thunder Punch, I don't know. But I don't know, it's just there to be a bulky steel instead of rocks, so nothing more to say. Now, Swellow is really good on this draft. It gives me a really good speed tier between, what's it called? My Zardex and my Coco, because Hawlucha is in a speed tier, so I got Swellow. So what Swellow does, spec sets are really good because my Diggersby and my Zardex really pressures, well, Diggersby primarily pressures the steel types and the rock types really well for spec Swellow in the back to just clean up late game or break in general. So they really break for each other really well, and I felt like Flying Spam was really good here. Another decent defogger, like if I have an extra move slot, I can run defog on it. That's immune to spikes, T-spikes, and webs, so that's really good. Also gets access to U-turn, can run a Guts set with a Flame Orb with Brave Bird Facade, stuff like that. So it's a really good Pokemon, but it's 125 speed, so it's speedy, pretty close to Coco. But I have a very big gap between like Zardex and my Comfey and Swellow. So I need to figure out what to do with that. If it works out well in the regular season, I might as well not change anything because, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you know what? I'm pretty happy with my draft, and I had 1 point left. I wanted a nice resist, so I got Lil Baby. Munchlax. It was a nice resist with Thick Fat. And yeah, it's just fat. 135, dude. That's insane. Why does this thing have 135 HP? But yeah, with Eviolite can be pretty fat. It's a nice resist because it gets Thick Fat. You can run Curse, I suppose. Did we get Curse? Did we get Curse? I was really confused because it runs it on Little Cup and I didn't see it on this list. But decent coverage, I guess. It's a good wall. Ice resist. I don't know. I had 1 point left. I had to choose something. It was either that or like, I don't know, like Shelgon. I don't know. But yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with my draft. Just the main thing I didn't get that I wanted. I wanted T-Spikes and I wanted some better speed tiers between Zardex, Comfey, Zardex and Comfey, and the Swallow. But you know what? I think I have a pretty good draft right here. Like a really good amount of walls and breakers, but not walls to the point where it's like passive, except for like Registeel. But Registeel is God, so you can't really doubt that ever. Yeah, I like my hyper offensive draft here, and I think it's going to be really fun. Hopefully I can get some good games out for you guys. Also, I have no idea if I'm actually uploading this league, so if this video goes up and you're here, then you know I'm uploading this league. Shoutouts to the thumbnail made by Ben, and yeah man, really excited to be here. Hopefully I get a good season. Now let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What would you rate our team, our draft, 1 out of 10? And where do you think we will end? I believe it is 10 weeks, 10 or 12 weeks. I can double check that very, very quickly here. And it seems like it is 10 weeks. So out of 10 weeks, where do you think we'll end up? I feel like we'll end up 6-4. Pretty good benchmark there. I always want to aim positive when I finish out a season. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. And we actually face Thick Bunny, Young Elliott week 1. So he's a very good battler. And really looking forward to that matchup. And it's going to be a fun one, man. I really like... I don't really like our matchup, but I feel like it's just going to be a fun game against him, man, because he's a good player and he has a similar draft to ours, similar draft style to ours. But yeah, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me, and like always,